Alright folks, how are we? I'm Shipwreck Sean, and this is episode 4 of Following Seas. Now I have, I think, worked out the problem with the cargo in the last episode. Maybe I'm being a bit disingenuous there. My lovely commenters have worked out the problem. So, problem number 1, as you can see, I haven't actually completed the mission. I decided to go back to a previous save so we can all go through this together. But problem number 1 I was having is, if you check canvas 1.35 tons, I noticed that when I delivered the mission that was supposed to reward me with canvas, that wasn't increasing. If you go back to the Bells episode, episode 2, you'll see that when accepting the contract, it actually says 1 ton of canvas upon acceptance. So we already got it. So that's that problem dealt with. Issue number 2 was, why was the second mission not completing? And that's because I've left a crate back at the Bells. So we're going to go through this again. So we're looking at this contract, which is linseed. Important to look at the 3 definitions near the top: loaded, available and delivered. We have 14 crates of linseed loaded. I'm kind of saying this out loud for myself, to be honest folks, but I'm going to right click, and now we've got only 12 loaded and then 2 delivered. So yeah, it seems simple. Maybe I should change the channel to Simple Sean. It would be a lot more fitting, although I think Shipwreck kind of probably gives you that impression as well. So we're just going to go ahead and grab all the linseed we can find. I believe they're all easy to get, but there's one hidden underneath dried fish. So I'm going to press R, pick up 1 dried fish and go back. Now I'm going to stay quiet folks, because there's 1 more to be delivered, and you will hear, if I've set my audio properly, you might need to turn up for this, you will hear a little ding that signifies that the mission is complete. So I'll do that now. So it's actually quite quiet, even in my own headphones. So hopefully you can pick that up, but if not, you'll just need to believe me. It's a little bell. So then we're going to go over to our dried fish mission, and we're going to collect all those, and see how during the loaded, available and delivered specifications, we've got 1 available. That, according to, I forgot the commenter name, I'll get that when I make a quick edit, because I will be doing that in this episode, because we have to do a round trip back to the Bells and then back to Bathis Island. Yeah, they pointed out that available means that's 1 more that we've available to have put on board. I probably could have worded that better, but I'm sure that makes sense. So no bugs, no nothing. I got frustrated at the end of the last episode, tried to hide it, but yeah, okay, so that's that problem dealt with. So we will be going back to the Bells in this episode, but I won't be recording the entire sail, and maybe not much of it, because you've kind of seen that route already. I suppose you've not seen me going back the way, but what I would like to do is go and gather a mission back to the Bells, hopefully get another mission that takes me back to Bathis Island. But before I do that, I'm going to skip over to, there was a shipwreck somewhere. Oh, and that reminds me, another correction. Let me see if I can find the spyglass. Number 2 is for spyglass. I kept using the quadrant, which, you know, it works, but isn't that so much better? So we want to go and explore this shipwreck here and see if there's anything interesting. So I'm just going to make a quick edit so that I'm close, and in the meantime I will check who let me know about the whole loaded available situation and thank them promptly. Alright folks, so a couple of thanks to give. It was actually Costas V631 who let me know about the whole loaded, available, delivered situation, and that I had forgotten a crate on the Bells. So thank you, Costas. Costas was kind enough to get in touch with me through Discord as well. We discussed the possibility of there being a journal at the Bells, but we're not too sure about that one. So I'll have another research around in this episode, because obviously I deleted the episode where I searched through the ship previously due to the bugs I was experiencing. So yeah, thank you very much, Costas, for getting in touch and for letting me know. I'd also like to thank Marekotech 2540 because they let me know to check out this shipwreck, which of course I was going to do, but chances are I was going to forget. So cheers, matey, for that one. NZ Wanderer deserves a wee thank you as well because they confirmed initially that it wasn't a bug I was dealing with and that there are more people that had the same issue as me, which is always reassuring. And then last but not least, Charlie Fox 9403, who was the one that let me know about the spyglass quadrant situation, because I was probably just going to keep doing that for the rest of time. But with those being said, I'd probably have a few more thanks to give. But with that being said, we are here now at the shipwreck, so let's go and have an explore. I do want to get the boat a wee bit closer. I was experiencing a wee bug with this boat where when I was crouching and moving forward, sometimes I would glitch out and just start running to the bow. So it was a little bit annoying. I don't know what the issue was there because I tried holding and I tried like toggling. But both were giving me the issue. It just says crouch to row, it doesn't say hold or anything like that. So let me know if you're dealing with that yourself. But let's go and have a wee deek at this vessel. So what do we think, folks? It might be risky here, trying to guess what vessel this is, because I usually get it wrong. But I believe what we're seeing is 2 masts. This looks like a damaged mast here, and that looks like the rest of it. And obviously we have the main mast, which is still upright. So 2 masts, smaller vessel. Looking at the rudder at the stern, it's kind of hard to tell, but I would presume that mast is forward of the stern post. Well, quite clearly is. So my guess for the rig is going to be ketch. I can already hear the typing in the comments. My guess is going to be a ketch. This raked stern, I'd like to see the front, because if the front has a nice bow to it, then it would lead me to believe it's something like a Zulu hull, which is quite a niche one, but that's probably my own confirmation bias there. Zulus are wonderful boats. I sailed on a Zulu here in Scotland in a place called Anstruther. In fact, I tell a lie, we never sailed her. I was helping doing the refit on a Zulu called Reaper. Definitely look her up. She's a 2-masted lug-sailed Zulu hull. She is beautiful. A big meaty vessel. There are smaller boats, for example the Baldy, that have this raked stern, but they're both very niche to Scotland, so I wouldn't want to presume that that's what this is. So someone smarter than me, please let me know. But my complete wayward guess is a ketch Zulu or a ketch Baldy. So let's do some exploring. Can we open this hatch? No, we cannot. So we've got, yeah, this is absolutely a mast. We've got some ironwork here. It is green. I don't know if that's part of a faction or if it's maybe just brasswork that's formed a patina. Not entirely sure. Oh, okay. We didn't need the hatch to be open. We've fallen through. And would you look at that, folks? Thank you very kindly. Sorry, I didn't memorise this name. Marekotech. You were correct. Of course you were. I never doubted you. We have a journal to read through. And it looks like we've got some goodies as well. Oil and oakum. So I'm going to just go ahead and shove this on our rowboat, which I'm going to call SS Bonnie. She's not a sailing ship, so it doesn't deserve the SS, but it's all about love and affection with these vessels. I'm glad to have found some oil because I've got a funny feeling I've left all my lanterns on board, so that'll come in handy. And whilst we're talking about goods, I would like to see if it's worth selling some of that canvas here as well, because I'm not sure what the canvas is good for, if that's like just if that gets eaten up with repairs or if it's literally just a sellable good. Right, so I'm going to have a read through this. As always, I expect it to be quite a meaty journal, so I'll create a chapter. So if you can't be bothered listening to my voice reading a book, then you can of course skip. But I'll try to keep it entertaining. I'll try to put on a wee voice. So yeah, let's just dig in. Let's get some lore. I'm just going to read through it before I make any comments on it as well, because I'm not very good at doing two things at once. So let's do it. Page 1, illegible. Nice, that's an easy one. Here we go. Imperials were closer than the Seamaster thought. We burned Bathis, or whatever they've taken, to calling Old Waypoint, yet we made less than a day before I saw those cursed three-sided sails rising up. Hull down to hull up before we'd half formed up. Fools at home had our ships bearing cannonades. What is saved powder when we've lost the range that won us the swans? What use is saved powder, rather? Shortages be damned if it sends us to the bottom. 20 to our 18. Half of them in those long, low things with oars and cannon at the bow. Felt they went from black spots on the horizon to letting fire to those wretched iron guns before we managed to come about. They felled our mizzen, and the light that guides was listing to starboard and unable to fire before our weapons came into range. Illegible of their little ships broke apart, burning our eyes with a fierce plume of flame and shattered pieces. Surely struck the magazine. Weeping mist, and at least 2 others in the line were ablaze, drifting off course. We've yet to see any of them return. May the sea, master never felt her light. The wretch. The guns went quiet, perhaps an hour after we lost the light. We drove off or sunk most of the little Imperials, yet we were in disarray, and with many ships alight, imperilled by damage, or unable to manoeuvre. Then, right from the sunset, those many-decked ships with the fat hulls reached us. Is that potentially one of the boats we shipwrecked at in the first episode? My ears still ring from their volleys of burning shot. The flagship is gone. All of the great ships are gone. We pumped and toiled through the night, and by morning our lookout could see but 6 of our ships. Okay, spooky scary, that's just the currency of life notification. We pumped and toiled through the night, by morning all under sail homeward, but spread apart and tattered. Pitiable sight. We've not the materials to repair the mizzen, and our sails are tattered, with most of our remaining sailcloth packed into the hull to keep us afloat. The captain is dead, and that pig from the White Hall commands us. Ordered us to make for home. Madness. We will never cross the gap in our condition. Illegible. He ordered us to throw the honoured overboard. Heresy. We threw him and any of his jade-broached quill carriers into the sea. Ah, these jade-broached quill carriers. We make for land, any land. If the ash awaits us, we will seek the flames. May the lady forgive us. Very perilous and dramatic. I am loving the lower part of this. I will have to go back and read it again during my next quick edit because I tend to not take things in while I am reading aloud for y'all. But the plan is take our goods back to the vessel, see if we can sell some canvas and get a mission back to the Bells. For a bit of fun, we will sail out and round the eastern side of the island just to see something a bit new. Back to the Bells, where I will probably cut out most of the sail, get another contract. Back here, where I will certainly cut out most of the sail, and then we're going to try and get a good contract to Waypoint, because I hear there's a shipyard there. I hear it's the largest settlement, so that is very much something I'm keen to see. So yeah, I'm going to jump back on our SS Bonnie here. I'm not going to record that because it was full of bugs, and I'll be with you back on board. Alrighty, let's have a wee look at what contracts we can get today. I'd also like to have a look at the buy and sell and provisions, but we'll check this first. Waypoint Island, we are going there eventually. I would like to do the round trip first, Let's just click through, see if there's anything for the bells. There's only 5 on offer. That's one at the Watcher, Far Shore, and Waypoint Isle. Okay, so okay, right. New plan. Do we just sail this mission right down to Waypoint Isle? That's going to be worth way more tiers than this mission here that we need to complete at the bells. There is debt, which tells me there is like a deadline for completing the missions. I'm not quite sure how to check what that deadline is, when it is rather. So it might be risky, but I think we'll have enough tiers to deal with any debt. Plus it's not that far. So I think we'll do that. Yeah, that seems like the better thing, because we could always take more missions at Waypoint on the way back to Bells and Bathis. Yeah, I'm just going to make an executive decision and accept that. Okay, cool, right. So, new plan. Disregard everything I said about the plan earlier on in the episode. We can sell our catch of the day, which I kind of thought we had some, but apparently not. So provisions. Food stuff. We've got quite a lot of that, but I don't really want to mess with food. I feel like we've got too much drink. I'm going to see what happens if we take drink right down to 400-ish, so it's around the same as food. And that way we can kind of see if one reduces more than the other. 61 wee tiers out of that, that's not too bad. Oakum, we've got quite a lot of oakum because we've found a lot. We do need to use it to repair, but I don't think we're going to need 600 odd. I'll maybe keep 200, because the repair I did, I think, took like 5 or 6 bashes. Timber, I feel like we might be able to use that for repairing the ship, but I'm quite keen to have a bit of money, so I'm going to take timber down to maybe 100. Do let me know in the comments if I'm making grave mistakes here. Oh, that's oakum again. What did I have oakum to? 200? I'm going to take timber down to roughly about 100. Canvas, well, we got a ton. So if we take that to 0.35, or 35 kilograms rather, thereabouts, we're getting a pretty hefty profit off of that. Oil, I don't think we need that much. So let's take that down to about 100. And we're going to have some tidy money here, which will also help with our debt as well, if we get any debt. So I'm going to complete trade there. And then I think we're good to go. So we need to run along. Another bug I'm experiencing is when I reload into the game, my mooring lines have just jumped off, but that's okay. Looking at the wind, we're going to get out of here easy peasy. So let's go and shove our cargo down in the deck, in the hold rather. Flick a wee light on. So that is the Bathis mission, so press R. And we're going to just lay out all of our missions that we've just picked up here. I'm keeping an eye on the manifest here, so loaded 6, available 6. And we're going to make sure nothing says available. One left. There we go. We might be a bit stern heavy there actually, so let's left click and alt to move. There we go. Left click and I didn't want to move that one actually. Can you just, no, okay, right. Teething issues. And we'll move you back to there. And I think that'll be fairly balanced, but we'll find out as we start sailing. But let's just get ourselves underway. So a couple of good things to get into practice with. Make sure there's no, I didn't hear any water there. As I say, we don't have mooring lines. I'm trying to decide if it's worth just letting out a bit of canvas to reverse that way, or if I kedge us out to keep it safer. And I think maybe kedging to port, just to get us away from the dock, isn't going to be a bad idea. Hoping that the stern doesn't love tap the dock as usual. But I think we're going to be alright. As the wind is blowing in our face right now, a sail direct south is going to be awkward. But we'll just get ourselves around the island first. Right, is that all of our kedging done? Right, so wind in our bow. I think we just get the mainsail out and let that turn us. What side is the yard on? Port side, okay. Let's have that dropped. Like so. And if we pull in tight, I mean, I think she's already turning ever so slightly. If we pull in tight, where was that? Is this the mizzen or main? I think this is main. It most certainly is. Pull that right in, we should start to turn. But I will of course help with our whipstaff over here. Oh, I might not have done this too well actually, because there are rocks just there. Perhaps kedging was the right way to go here. But we've committed. We've started now. I don't want to reload because we'll get extra contracts or alternative contracts. Right, how is she looking? Okay, she's turning fine. Sorry if it's a wee bit dark right now, folks. Well, the whipstaff... Nope, that's staying to port now because I've not pressed the recentering button. Going to just start easing out so that the wind hits us properly. Okay, right. I'm going to quickly recenter the whipstaff if I get up these darn stairs. There we go. And I'm going to bring the tack here, pop it there so we've got a bit more of a square sail on the go. Pulling the tension. Do we need to ease out here a bit more? I mean, that looks horrendous. That's because what we want to do is pop it over here with tension in. Relearning with every episode. And that's looking a bit more respectable. We'll just fine tune a wee bit. How's that looking? I mean, it still looks pretty atrocious actually. I can't see anything because it's too dark. And I'm sat miles away from the laptop trying to avoid my microphone picking up all of my extra sounds. Maybe letting out tension here is the right way to go. I don't know what's happened to this one. Okay, tension out. That's way better. Are we moving forward? It would appear so. Maybe not massively. But we are exiting the dock. Now when we turn this way, the wind will be a bit more... Oh, can we get through that gap? This is going to be sketchy, folks, but let's give it a go. Because right now with the yard on the port side, I would rather it stay there. Let's see if this is the right way to do it. Okay, recentered. Let's run it forward. Oh, we're going to be cutting this fine. I may regret this decision, folks. Listen out for any crashes or bangs. Once I'm clear of the island, I will double check the map. I believe it's pretty much just straight south we're going. Once we're through this gap, have we hit anything? No, I think we're doing okay. Right, let's ease her to port ever so slightly to avoid any land features that may have sandbanks or things under the water that we don't want to tap. I'll get us clear and then I'll prepare for a beam reach in this direction, which is southeast. Okay, right, we have definitely not left any crates this time, apart from the one we are aware of on the bells. Actually, I want to leave the tension out a bit. We want to pop you here. And I want to recenter this with tension. There we go. I know I should put full tension, but the oscillation hasn't been fixed, and I hate looking at it. There we go. She has righted herself, and let's turn and see if that has worked for us. Paying attention to our wind markers here. Very nice. Okay, so that is the turn complete. Let's have a wee look at our sails. So the wind is actually, we're sailing into the wind ever so slightly, so a slight close halt. But I think I'm quite happy. I am leaving at night time, so perhaps we're not going to be able to make out many land features today. While she's trundling forward, I will double check and see the direction we want to be heading in. Okay, Bathis Island. Okay, so we are south-southwest to Waypoint Island. Going to be quite a long sail, so I'll make a decision if I want to maybe make some cuts or if I do this as a sort of two-parter, because I don't want to leave the episodes too long. I might even make it a big long bonanza, who knows. We'll just go with the flow, for that is what we do here. Although the only thing I've got to distract myself are my own thoughts and fishing, which it would appear we've sold as part of foodstuffs. I'm going to turn to port just to get some better wind. There we go. Still a bit of a close haul, but we'll just keep going until we've passed this section of the island. Yeah, we're not going to make out much today, but that's alright. We have some money. What was our total again? Up the other end, isn't it? Up the other end. I am liking the sort of red light on the deck. $1,846.189 tiers. Alright, that's a lot of decimals. Decimal point invented in Scotland, of course. Adam Smith. I think I heard that Adam Smith, there's other stories about Adam Smith that aren't so great. I think he was maybe involved in some colonial naughtiness. I'll need to do some more research on that. But you know, that's what we do in Scotland. We brag about what we invented. Our cities might look like they're stuck in the Gothic era, but at least we got some inventions. Did we invent the television? Potentially. Oh, this is going to be a tough sail. Because we want to be going south-southwest, which is not far off the direction the wind is coming in. So I guess I'm hoping and praying that at some point we get a change of wind direction, because this is going to be slow going. Perhaps maybe there'll be some edits in this episode, but I always have the surefire way of distracting myself, and that's fishing. We are all about the profit margins. Reel out with E until we get a catch. Is that, do we have something? Is that a bend? Oh, there we go. And then reel in without being too aggressive. I'm just kind of feathering with the R key. I don't know if feathering's a popular term. When you're cycling a bike, it's often useful to feather your brakes, as in many little taps rather than one big strong tap. That way you didn't end up overboard. A smiling whitefish, I don't even remember bringing. Didn't even bring that right up. But we'll get a couple more. Or maybe one more. And I'll check the sails. I probably should have checked the wind direction before accepting the mission. But this is how we learn. And at the end of the day, I didn't really fancy going back to somewhere that I've already been. Although that fishhook place, there was a lot of good missions there. But at least here, we're within the general vicinity. You know, when we get to Waypoint, we're generally close to the bells. So we'll be able to sail back there and collect our mission. Drop it off at Bathis Island. There's a chance I maybe do that off camera just to keep the whole thing entertaining. But I will of course be updating, so I'll record things. Right, I think I'm quite happy to get the mizzen out now. Let's go and get this lantern on, see if that makes any difference. Not really. Mizzen, what side's the yard on? Port side, that's grand. And we didn't set up the mizzen for sailing with the wind behind us, so it should be pretty close to what we need. So we want some pretty decent tension in the yard, in the tack. And let's head up to the stern. And we don't want that much ease, so we want to pull that in. How's that looking? Maybe a tiny bit of luffing. How's our main looking? Slightly less luffing. What was the tension on the main? 1.26. Oh, some FPS drops today. Oh, that reminds me. Someone, I will find out the commenter. They comment on a few of my videos. Asked to see my specs, not my specs, my settings. So I will of course show that at some point. I think it's wise just to sail in this direction until we have cleared land and then do a full tack round. So that looks like the edge of land there, which is currently to our southwest. Come on, wind, change. In the first two episodes, the wind was changing pretty dramatically and constantly. Consistently constant. But in the last episode, it was just the easiest, breeziest sail you could have expected in this game. What a moody looking game, eh? It'd be good to be able to do some triangulation. I really must learn the navigation table. Land is not going to be immediately clear as well. Yeah, that's not land I'm looking at, that's just these lines up here in the sky. But we don't want to tack too early. Too late is always going to be way better than too early. Oh, there we go, it's cleared up now. Okay, right. This is an exercise in patience, folks. I suppose I'll use this moment to say please like and subscribe. I recently uploaded a first impressions video of Salt 2. I had intended on releasing that a wee bit later on, because I've got 3 games on the go at the moment. Adding a 4th is probably a bit too much for me. But I haven't been very well over the past week. Hopefully my voice sounds a lot better. At least I think it does. So we are on the up. So today I'm going to try and get through a following seas video, a sail the seas video, and a sailwind video. But we'll just see, because it can be quite mentally... Oh! Okay, that's the bells. So is that waypoint there? It is, right, cool. I got my directions wrong there. I thought that was out east. And I was like, oh, secret island. The lore that we've read does suggest that there's an island, what was it, northeast-ish from Bathis. So that's going to be over in that direction, if it is indeed northeast and not northwest. Oh, 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 that was close. Northeast looking in this direction. Well, there's at least nothing in our sights, and as far as I'm aware, there's nothing in the map. We will double check. Yes, but the lore has suggested that there is something. Where's, so that's Fishhook Mine. So I don't know if maybe we speak to someone at some point and they will inform us on where to find more land, or if it's just a matter of sailing northeast until you find it yourself. Perhaps it's even further up, but I don't want to lose. There's no button to recenter the map. I suppose, right. Latitude 43, longitude negative 119. Yeah, I'm going and going and going and going, and there's nothing. So we will just come back. 43, 119, lovely. I do need to get rid of this. That's gotten rid of it, but I think it's still there if you start plotting. But either way, it's not an eyesore anymore. What? Okay. Leaving the hatch open was not wise. I think we have water in the bilge now. We do. Quite a lot by the sounds of it. There we go. Nope, just a couple of pumps worth. Right, I think we're ready for our... Has the wind changed, actually? It could be that the wind changed, or it could be that... Okay, it looks like I can actually close haul my way along to Waypoint. So let's get all... Oh no. Let's get all of our clues pulled in tight. And let's aim ourselves towards Waypoint. We are bringing in some water. It is choppy seas out there. Okay, we're pointed generally towards Waypoint. Just recentering. Oh, that looked a bit like the bug I was dealing with, actually. Hopefully that doesn't happen today. Not again, please. Please, Mr. Following Seas. Formerly known as Brendan Parley. Let's get you off, we don't want to waste oil. But if all goes well, you know, if we are moving forward and we get no issues along the way, then we're happy because we've got some money, some tears to spend. As I say, we flirted with the idea of there potentially being no... That's honestly, it's giving me the fear every time that happens. Okay, okay. I've got my fingers and toes crossed. There's going to be no issues. It just looks that way. Strong winds and all. And actually the wind is changed to the point where we can actually sail at a beam reach. Let's just double check that. Well, maybe more of a close reach, but we can certainly let out a bit of sail. Maybe to roughly about there. How's that looking? Yeah, okay, happy with that. I think it's going to be bilge pump duties on this sail. It's probably the choppiest seas I've sailed in so far. Can't make out any land features. See, it might be worth sailing around the shores to see if there's any more like barrels and goodies we can pick up. Can we get just a wee bit more tension in? Just watching to see if the oscillation sorts itself eventually, but it doesn't appear so. .27 seems to work pretty nicely. Not on the mizzen because it looks horrendous when not attached. Let's try .47. Still not quite attached. I mean, we could just choose to ignore it. I think that's going to be the method going forward. Right, we're sailing. It's night time. Now, for Celestial was that a shooting star or was that just... Did you go back and have a look at that, folks? On the right hand side of my screen there, something flew by. It seemed a bit low to be a shooting star. See, we can already make out features on Waypoint. We have the Watcher, pretty much directly to our west. And what else? We've got the most southern edge that I can see of Bathis is northwest. So west and northwest. Let's see if we can do something here. Oh, that's water coming down, fabulous. So the Watcher to our west, and then Bathis Island just to our northwest, roughly. So we've not made it far. But given we're bringing water on deck quite a lot, I don't really want to have this hatch open much longer. What would the wind be like if I sailed to the bells from here? Damn near impossible. Okay, so we won't even flirt with that idea. It might actually get us there quicker if we actually turn to port a wee touch and encourage that beam reach. Because close hauling the whole way sounds painful. I don't know about you folks. I just don't want to go too wayward. Right, so that's beam reach territory. Let's try the tensions on 2. We'll have a look how that looks, because I'd like to start memorising this. Do we think we can? I think we can get away with a wee bit more. Okay, let's go up to 3. Pump on each sail. Not much luffing going on there. Outside view's looking good. Right, we're moving now. But for experimental reasons, let's try 4. It really is bilge pump duty today. 4, that looks like we brought on some more water. We're good. 4 looks... I'm not sure I'm liking the look of 4 on the mizzen. Bring the mizzen back into roughly about 3. And yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So, on roughly a beam reach, between a beam reach and a close reach, it is indeed probably better to have tension on the main 1 higher than the mizzen. I didn't actually inspect all of the little islands of the bells either. It reminds me of, I think I maybe said this, Game of Thrones, what's it? Oh no. Folks, keep your fingers and toes crossed. This will be a completed video. And you will be watching this. Everything I've recorded so far, you will be seeing it. Hi folks. No alright folks right now because I'm not feeling so alright. I'm feeling nervous. I was worried about keeping busy. It doesn't actually feel like I've got time to to do any fishing now. Of course the Watcher is still roughly west, because we're not sailing direct south anymore. Sort of the centre of the island. Centre of the bells. Okay, let's risk it. Let's try fiddling with the map again. Oh, I left that hatch open. We don't want that. Can we close it from? Nice, that's cozy. Let's see here. So, if the Watcher is roughly west, right? What do we have here? We've got add ship. This seems to be like, press interact key to place triangulation reference point. So Watcher. Oh, interact key. So Watcher. Ah, okay. So we thought that was roughly west. I probably should have taken the actual azimuth. But let's just say it was west, and then press interact again. And then we go to Bathis Island. Okay, nice. And then to delete. Okay. Right, folks. Let's go and do some triangulation. Oh, nice. He's learning. I'm getting dangerous here. No water in the hold either. Right, so the Watcher, which I think will be a good point to take, it's an azimuth of 282.61, and the centre of Bathis 343. So 282, 343. 282, 343. 282, 343. Here we go. So the Watcher 282. I'm starting to doubt it was 282. And then centre of Bathis is 343. Which would tell me we're roughly about there. I think I moved that slightly, but we're roughly here. I'm hearing a lot of banging and crashing out there. Can we add, like, now that we have a location, can we add, like, where our ship is? So, like, here. And we're headed... I forgot to check what direction we're heading in, actually. Oh, okay. I'm just going to place the boat there. Oh no, I don't know how to... Let's just exit out. But we're getting there, folks. That's way more progress than I thought I was going to get. I wasn't actually even going to play with the navigation. But I'm hearing scary noises out here. But look at us. We can do triangulation. As long... Really the okay, so we're at a close haul now. So I think maybe I want a close haul towards the bells, I think. And then it's worth noting the exact direction we're going on for our charting. So to prepare for a close haul, I'm going to pull in the tension of all of our clues. A wee bit more in the main. I'm going to swap the yards round to the opposite end with R. Other side, port side, R. And we're going to begin our attack. And it's going to go perfectly. I feel like the wind has changed again. Why? Because the sails are taken quite nicely on the starboard side now. So we might not have to head sort of directly to the bells. But yeah, we've crossed the wind already. Let's centralise. What are we looking at? The wind's actually behind us now. Okay, let's make the most of that then. Okay, wind behind us. So let's take out. Let's just take everything out initially and deal with our micro adjustments in a second. Alright. So we were praying to the following seas gods that we would get a change of wind direction. And change of wind direction we have certainly received. I'm quite happy with the sails in their current configuration. Maybe letting out the main is a good idea, just a touch. I know I was going for 4 and 3 here. I've currently got 3 and 2. But she's moving fine. I won't be able to see the islands from there now. I kinda can't see. Oh no, the Watcher is now... Yep, okay, so the Watcher has moved south of the bells from our focal point. Watcher 286. Eastern edge of Bathis is 357. So 286, 357. Get you on. Oh, I'm enjoying this now, folks. Cheery, let's do hours and hours. Right, this is the thing I'm struggling with, this sort of plotting here. So you press done then. And that's put like an anchor at where I think I am. We've lost the triangulation if you zoom in too much and the anchor. But that's okay because you can see the crossing point. I have immediately forgotten the numbers. Because I got distracted. Shipwreck Sean. Easternmost part. 359. The Watcher 287. 359 287. So we want to triangulation point 359, roughly there, and then 287 from the Watcher. Two, 8, 7 here, and this is our new point. So we've gone Bathis round to here. We've cut in this way after our attack, and we're actually pretty close to Waypoint Island. Like we've done, we're over halfway, I would say. I thought this was going to take hours. Here's me talking about making this a two-parter, although I shouldn't get too confident and complacent just yet. The best lesson I learned in real life about boats is to always expect the unexpected. And we're getting a lovely day. Look at that. I'm going to have to get a nice wee screenshot at Waypoint Island today. Assuming I get there. Because it would be very nice to have a screenshot there for the thumbnail. And I'd already prepared screenshots for doing a round trip from the Bells to Bathis, but that is not to be. I will head back down next time I need to do triangulation and check where the port is, because I think that's obviously an important thing to work out. I think I'll pull the tension in, both by a measurement of 1 each, and turn us in a bit more of a close haul towards the island. Perhaps there, how's that looking? Well, that's saying we're still at a beam reach, so the wind is changing as we go. This is amazing. Right, we're pointing pretty much directly at the island. And we can still let out, maybe let out by half. Just tinkering away, folks. So the telltale would suggest a close haul, but we're not looking at the telltale. We're looking at these, the wind markers, and that would suggest to me more of a close reach. The sails are luffing a touch, so I'm going to pull them in tighter. Just a bit of luffing to the mizzen. She's sailing like she's close hauling, so it could be that because the boat is curved, I'm looking at the wind markers wrong. Am I stuck? There we go. But I think we're probably drawing it a bit close. We have actually turned to port as well, which might have been the issue. It could be that our sails are completely off balance, or I forgot to recenter the whipstaff. That's something I'll be looking over whilst editing this video. So I need to learn how to balance the vessel. It's all very well knowing how to go forward, but you would like to keep going in the direction in which you call forward. Right, okay, so facing forward, we are heading between south and southwest, maybe just a touch southwest of south-southwest. So make a mental memory of that. Azimuth of 206. And we'll just leave her be for a wee minute and see if we're still going at 206. Our tension is 1.8 on the aft sail, the mizzen, and 2.5. Let's make it closer to 2.8 and see if our system is working. I mean, she seems balanced. Yeah, I think I'm quite happy with this. I think I'm just second guessing myself, which is, you know, it's not a bad thing to do. I'm looking forward to getting to the point where this game just comes at complete second nature, but I suspect that's not how it's going to work, because by the time we get completely confident with this vessel, hopefully we've got enough money to start picking up meatier vessels. Just seem if I can get away with just a squeeze more. Just don't look at that. Ignore it and it's not real. Okay, well, I am ready for some more triangulation. This time, the Watcher's a great spot for triangulation because it's just one single plinth like that. I could use one of the bells, but I'm not entirely sure which is which when looking at a map. I'm not entirely sure which is closest. So perhaps we'll go the Watcher and see what's an easier number to remember. Let's face the westernmost point of Waypoint. That's roughly 214. The easternmost point is 193. We'll go east. Let's just make sure I am... Oh, this... having a bit of trouble with the new mouse, folks. Because I've also got the mouse on a book to try and reduce mouse movement noises as well. And it's obviously not ideal. No, clearly not ideal. Not great for fine tuning. So we'll just get a rough estimate. 194. And 294. That's easy to remember. Let's do it. No issues this time. Going to be done perfectly. Okay, so right click, triangulation. 294 for the Watcher. I can't really see because... Nah, I need to delete... there we go. So start again. It means I've lost our path, but that's okay. I would have liked to have gone over that, but hey ho. 294 for the Watcher. Then the easternmost point from where we are, I'm going to just guess here because it seemed to be the drop of a cliff. That must be the port there. I'm going to presume roughly about here. The fact that we can see the island is alright. Like, we don't need to get perfect. It's just practicing. Okie dokie. As I say, it would have been nice to check. Well, maybe I've done that wrong. Maybe I did the last one wrong, because that would suggest we have just gone eastward. Westward, rather, to our starboard. So I've probably made an error somewhere along the way, but I think we're roughly right. How is the wind? I mean, look, we've got a trail behind us, so we know we're moving forward. We did have a little bit of turny view happening. Okie dokie. If I'm going quiet a couple of times, folks, my girlfriend is currently flying home, so I'm keeping my eye on flight radar. I don't know if you guys do things like that as well. I am obsessed with flight radar. So when I know someone is on a flight, you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be keeping my eye on that like a hawk. Currently flying across the channel. That would be the English channel. So she's very much left the UK. So, safe travels, Mrs. Shipwreck. You know what it's time for, folks? A bit of fishing. Because she's steady now. I wonder what was happening earlier on. If it was just terrible, terrible weather. I mean, it didn't feel like it was a storm, but the sea state, you know, certainly said otherwise. But yeah, I was really worried that that bug was going to make a not so welcome return. Oh, he's really hauling this. I think maybe I need to stand in a different section when I start fishing. Realistic. Right, it's not. There we go. A fingerfish. Have we discovered a fingerfish yet? A tiny silverfish commonly caught from docks and small boats near the shore. They are frequently pickled to preserve and soften their bones for easier consumption. Oh yeah, once filling the plates of the poorest folk, they are now a staple and broken out. Yep, we have had one of those before. I'm going to stop fishing and see if I can stand at like a better point. Yeah, that's better. The line's going through the boat, but that's alright. We can deal with that. But I feel like I'm getting a hang of this game. It is, as I say, it's one of the hardest sailing games I would say I've played around with. But then again, it's easy to say that because I'm more used to the other ones. But the other ones are pretty much just sheets, yards, and I don't know, there's just something different about the sail configuration controls. Did I lose that fish? It's hard to tell when my rod is got a mind of its own. Alright, we're just fishing through the hull. I'm maybe fishing straight from provisions right now. Right, I don't think I've seen a great bird catcher, but obviously my memory is pretty shocking. A large and aggressive fish, well, he certainly looks it. Known to prey on floating seabirds close to shore. It preys on birds. 50 cent, okay. Somewhat rare, they're edible, but usually avoided, as it's common for the eater to suffer from periods of indigestion. Their thick green skin is prized for making leather among the Callian people. So that's what I wanted to talk about with the lore. As the war between the Imperials and the Callian people. Like the journal I read over there talking about the pesky Imperials. What was it? The jade wearing I can't remember. Jade wearing ink dwelling or something like that. It seems the Callians and the Imperials aren't fans of each other. But then I don't know if is the archipelago just like the Callian archipelago, and the the Imperials are just, well, the Imperial faction who have settled into the area, and then these sort of unhuman, grotesque, sort of descriptive. I'm actually not sure where to go because I was kind of aiming for that part there, but I think actually I need to go round here and in. We'll discover as we get closer. But I think I might go beam reach for now. So let's haul ourselves to starboard ever so slightly. Because it feels like we were absolutely flying, and now we've been kind of at this point for quite a while. Although in saying that, the Watcher is now quite a bit further south than the Bells. So the wind markers would suggest beam reach. The telltale not so much, or the flag rather. This telltale, yeah, that looks like beam reach to me. So let's go with what we did originally, where it was 3 and 4. See how that works for us. Because I liked that part of the sail. That was a nice part of the sail. She seemed to take to that very well. Yeah, that looks groovy. Let's stop looking at the flag. Let's look at the sails. I mean, I could ease them out until they're luffing, and then start pulling them in incrementally. So that would be 6. And that's luffing. So if we came back to 5. I don't think that's luffing, I think that's just the game being the game. The mizzen is certainly luffing now. But we'll just ease that out, we'll do the same as we did. Right, completely lost tension at 4. And that's not great for the mizzen, so let's try 3.5. Still some major luffage. 3. That's looking a hell of a lot better, but still luffing, so let's come right down to 2. Yeah, that looks healthier to me, folks. Right, spyglass. So it doesn't look like we can get into here. As I say, this area here is where I thought the port was. But the fact that there's hills beyond the hills we can see in the foreground tells me that I believe we need to go around this section here. And quite conveniently, we're already heading perfectly in the direction for that. So, triangulation. And we're going to get it right this time. It would be good if the azimuth would delete from the previous bit of triangulation, so that I could make that out properly, but it is what it is. At least we're doing better. So the Watcher is 305 degrees. And let's see if we can find the edge. So in fact, no, we'll stick to what we know. Easternmost point 184. 305 and blink 182 plus 2. 305, 184. Yeah, it'd be good to get rid of this. Like, there's no way of sort of removing that, and it's going to make it very hard to spot. Because as soon as I pop this here, I really need to see. It's just, you know, that ain't good. So then we have to go and delete, and I don't really like doing that. So triangulation, the Watcher, 305, roughly thereabouts. I'm not bothering with the decimal points just yet, because if I can barely remember 2 numbers, then I'm going to struggle with decimals. Then easternmost point was blink 182 plus 2. 184. Nice, okay, cool. So we've kind of come out, back in, and then along to here. We actually came out and then we sort of close hauled, and then we've turned more in this direction. Again, for plotting, what does this do? Oh, so we do consume canvas and timber, so that is part of our... Okay, So I'm going to need to play around with this, not right now, but that could come in handy because it will actually tell us what we're about to use. I wasn't actually done in there. And it will help us pre-plan. I don't remember getting a notification to say we've used, you know, X amount of canvas and X amount of timber. But that's very good to know. So that's different plot points. If we go back to 1, to any of the points we already have, they don't seem to be there anymore. And also weirdly that triangulation started down here at 184, so we will actually sort that. Let's do it again. Folks, if this is painful to watch, I'm sorry, but we must learn. And it might be painful now, but it will only improve. Sails still look alright to me. Right, so easternmost point, 175. Watcher, 309. 309, 175. I'm just shutting up right now, so I don't forget. 309. And then easternmost part, I don't know why the boat suddenly appeared. Well, if we're going to plot that, we're heading this direction. Done. And then 175 from here. Okay, so our easternmost, if that's the case, then our easternmost point is actually here. So I want to get rid of that. Easternmost point is here at 175. So we're here. This is where we are. Ignore this guy, ignore this. We are here. That's a much healthier bit of triangulation. But let's just get rid of all that. What does this do again? Enter marker text. Alrighty. Alrighty. Sweet. Cool. Oh no, we can't get... There we go. The plot... Again, I'm not sure how to do the plot stuff, but anyway. I've put you guys through enough pain here. Let's check and see if we've got any... Yes, we have a leak. Cool. Let's go and sort that. We've got a decimal point of 1,105 oakum, which is pretty weird. I did notice that when we were selling other parts of our provisions, it was affecting the slider on everything else, so I don't know if that's done something, but I think generally we just ignore the decimals for now. Ah, here we go. I can bear this no longer. That place north and west of Bathis. So I was looking northeast, which was obviously incorrect. It eats my gut, both wailing at me to flee. While begging for my return, each day I feel the cold air on the back of my neck, and every night I'm back on those stairs going down. So we do need to be looking northwest of Bathis next time we go. I'm just pronouncing Bathis and Bathis because one of them is going to be correct. Sorry folks, I'm going to just cough. I'll add a wee bit of music to hide it. Okay, I have returned. My apologies. I guess I'm still unwell. But we can still speak. I think perhaps recording 3 separate episodes for 3 separate games is going to be a stretch. Also, that is the port, so I was correct. Oh, that's cool. Oh, right, cool. Which is going to be a hefty close haul. So say we set her up for close haul, and then we just tack ourselves in. So let's bring the tension to, we'll say, 0.5. And then we'll go maybe 1.5 in here. How's that look? Yeah, it looks alright. And let's pull ourselves in, because I'd like to make out more as I get closer. I think according to these, I can pull in just a wee bit tighter. Remembering to recenter. I will be scaling that mountain. Oh right, so there's a huge, huge structure. I wonder if it's like most structures in this game that you can't go inside. I would like to go and appreciate the architecture. But also, I will be walking around looking for a journal as well whilst I'm there. So hopefully I find that with ease. But since we're that close, folks, you will be glad to hear that that's the end of the triangulation period of this episode. Oh, we don't have much of a trail. But our bow's crashing into the water, absolutely fine. How's our provisions? So we've actually used, I can't remember how much canvas we brought it down to, but it looks like we've used a wee bit. But we probably should have kept some, so I'll maybe buy more canvas when I'm there. I'll maybe bring that back up to maybe 100. I think we'll make that our sort of limit for everything bar food and drink. As long as we've got 100 of each, we should manage each of the sails in the immediate archipelago. Food can probably come down to like 200 each, but I think I'll just leave that and just keep using that until we're about 200, and then I'll replenish to that point. We have turned whilst I was blabbing there. Yeah, so we're almost dead in the water, so let's hard to starboard and fix that. It looks like we're going to get a choice, this sort of spire in the centre. It looks like we're going to get a choice to go in via starboard or, well, with that to our port or starboard. Right now I'm kind of pointed in such a way that it will be passing it to our port. I think we can let out the tension, you know that. 1.5. Do let me know in the comments. I'm not sure why she keeps turning on her own, if it is just a matter of me not balancing properly. Right, if I point the azimuth at the edge of the hatch, well, it's going to move around ever so slightly, so it's moving in a sort of upright down direction. But if I keep it on the edge of the hatch, we're getting 195. 195. Cool. Blink 182 add 13. Oh, sorry, big stretches there. Speaking of big stretches, I've not seen my cat in a while. Right, I think we've got time to see if there's any unique fish in the Waypoint Isle area. I wonder if there's ever any reason to go back to Nameless Isle. You know, now we've kind of cleared all that. We picked up all the barrels, I believe. Is that just a... well, not a pointless island, but is that just an island that stays there to remind us of our humble beginnings? Or at some point will we be going back to repair the ship? Oh, actually, if people are mentioning there's a shipyard on this island, is it going to be that we need to speak to someone? Because we jotted the plans, didn't we? So do we speak to someone about getting her repaired? Excuse me, lad lubber. I have fallen adrift. Right, I've seen lionfish before. I wonder if that's me seeing most of the fish in the game. I'm starting to wonder if maybe... right, well, those plinths sticking out of the left-hand side of this would suggest it didn't be going this way for it to be treacherous. So I do believe we're heading in the right direction for entering. It's just we are going to hit a point where we are completely close-hauled getting in, but we always have the kedging anchor for anything like that. So now it's just that point in the episode, folks, where we just have to remain patient and get ourselves as close as possible. Now, I did say actually I was going to show you my settings, which I completely forgot to do. So even though the boat is not going to move much when I'm paused, we'll do that now. So I've got shadows on low. I don't really see any point in having that on high at the moment. I did have maybe a tiny bit of FPS issue. It was more FPS with mouse movement. Anti-aliasing, I can probably get away with boosting that. Let's have a wee peek. Sky and weather quality is high. I feel like ultra I could probably get away with. Textures is as high as they can be. Render scale I've taken down. Let's push that ever so slightly, see if we can get away with it. Ocean reflections I'm not too fussed about. Cloth solver iterations is the quality of fabric simulation. Set as high as possible. So that might be kind of the problem we're getting. Cloth collision I'm not going to flirt with. Terrain detail density I've got pretty high. Distance I've got maybe midway. Field of view I generally go for 80 in most games that I play. So that's what I've got at the moment. Now that we've turned things up, let's see. I think it immediately looks better. I don't know if I'm just placeboing myself here, which means I could have gotten away with the episode looking much nicer. But better to be safe than be sorry. I'm just running around seeing if there's any FPS issues, but not as far as I can make out. So those settings I've changed it to. I'll keep them like that for a while. So for anyone wanting to copy my settings, that was the one. But I should consider some thumbnail worthy moments here. Oh, and I can go off centre. Oh, now we're talking. Now we are talking, right. Okay, we can't go off centre by much. But I'm just playing around. This might not be used. None of this might not be used, but you got to take the opportunities whilst you can. And then, okay, so then when you come back out, your changes will be altered and saved. I don't really like the look of anything on the opposite side, so I'm quite happy with that. And that's killed a wee bit of time. Oh my, it's massive. Oh, please tell me there's a lot of exploring we can do. Oh, and there's a little, I don't know what you even call it, house, structure, building, and a seagull. Alright folks, I'm getting pretty excited now, and we can see the pier. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Again, it's going to be a difficult little close haul in. I think we're going to get too close to land to even consider tacking. I thought that was a change in wind direction there. It might have even been. I'm wondering if I can just get past the spire and make a quick tack. Head along to the other side of the bay and then quick tack back in. We might as well give it a go. Oh, exciting times. Do I reduce the mizzen as well? I feel like the mizzen's going to be pretty handy if we're planning on double tacking here. Let's come in. 0.5. And let's bring you to 1.5. And see if that's any better. For tacking, of course. So she has turned slightly. I'm guessing she'll obviously turn at the point where we've got a little bit of imbalance between the sails whilst I'm adjusting. I just didn't expect that much of an abrupt turn. But then again, I'm used to, for example, Sail the Seas which is very hard to turn the boats in that game when you're close hauling. You know, you've got to properly let out all this, like, especially tacking actually, you've got to properly let out all the sails, and it can be difficult at times. But on this game it seems that you can tack with a wee bit more give and leeway. Excuse the pun. But we are getting mighty close now. Very close to tack number 1. I mean, the direction of the wind is that way, so we'll probably be tacking round and facing pretty much dead east. So we'll keep our sights on dead east, like so, and wait until we've just completely cleared. Also keeping an eye on this bit of land up on our bow to make sure we don't whack that. So it's just a matter of hitting the sweet spot, really. Yeah, I think we can get away with that now. Sweet spot hit. Oh, and I forgot to change the yards. Well, started now. Right, she's handling that okay. Going to start to centralise the whipstaff. Probably could have gotten away with turning even a bit more, but let's pull in this mizzen now. We don't need you anymore. Pretty chuffed with how far we've got, and I'm actually going to press R to get the yard on the other side of our main. Are we dead in the water? Oh, we're pretty close to it. So let's complete our turn. See what I mean? We get a good bit of turning in this game, and then we'll just go out. We are avoiding. I can't get my cursor. Sorry, we're avoiding these. Hopefully you can see that in the recording. There's this weird horizon line that seems to be following. See that in the sea? Seems to be following my cursor. I'm not sure what that's about. It's maybe something to do with like the distance, terrain distance, density or whatever it was. Right, final tack. I maybe done that too early. And it's clear we don't need to worry about moving the yards until we have completed our tack. So I'm alright with that. It's always good to have a procedure though. Oh, that's a bit tight actually. Let's... Oh, and there's multiple piers. Well, 2. 2's multiple. And then now we just trundle forward. And we're almost there. Look at this. I suppose I don't need the spyglass from here, but that's amazing. We've got like a sort of weird Colosseum-like structure. Lanterns. Is that potentially the shipyard? That's frames of a ship being constructed. We've got another windmill up here, much like the one on Bathis, which was still in operation, even though they torched the place. What else can we make out? It's like an old watchtower, or a tower in construction, or a tower that's been absolutely smashed to bits by a cannon. And then a sort of cathedral looking thing. Oh, didn't mean to bring the clock out. The time is now 11:15. Anyone old enough to remember that? Back when you could phone a phone number and it would recite the time to you? It would go, on the third beep, the time will be 12:43. And then it would beep 3 times. Or am I just old? It was my birthday last week, folks, so don't forget to leave happy birthdays in the comments. It was actually a pretty decent one. I was working, but, you know, I'm old. There's not really much else you do on your birthday anyway. But I did plenty before the actual date of my birthday. But yeah, 31 years old now. Why does my back hurt when I stand up? No one warned me about that. No, it doesn't really, folks. I am fit as a fiddle. Maybe a little bit of a belly, especially this time of year. But it's called keeping warm in the winter. It's extra insulation is what it is. We're getting pretty close to land there. Too busy talking about my beer belly. Once we clear that, I'm just going to pull in the... Well, actually, I think we can probably... We're going slow enough that we can get away with just sailing right along. I'm tempted to anchor off and row in, but I'd rather be close as possible for letting in cargo. But we will get a decent profit. I was tempted to be evil and be like, to be continued, but nah. We'll at least finish the mission. I won't take any more missions in this episode, but I'll certainly have a wee walkabout, so you're welcome to join me for that. Right, main in. I think this is the time. Up she rising, hooray, up she rising. Right, up she has risen. Now we just send our bowman to the front here and keep an eye. I think we can go ever so slightly to port. When we're going very slow, you want to make as little rudder movements as possible because that will slow you down. It's just extra friction, isn't it, in the water. But I think we've nailed this. So centralise the whipstaff. Let go, and let's go and grab our bowline, which is here. Oh, we're a bit far. Right, we're going to take a run and jump. That didn't work. Can we get up the... Okay, there we go. Easy, no issues. And that's going to haul in the bow, pretty weirdly. Sort of like elastic. And we grab our stern line. Now we should just be able to hop across. And we're going to pop that up aft, of course, and just let her do her thing. Folks, we are at Waypoint. Could this be a thumbnail? Nah, no, we won't do any thumbnails whilst I'm here. I can do that off camera. Yous have suffered enough. Right, where is the mission guy? I would like my money, please. This looks like the mission desk. Nice, okay, take on work. Contract, oh wait, we have to do the cargo manifest. Oh, we do have a little mission to the bells though. 722, oh no, that's the one we already have accepted, sorry. From Waypoint Isle right now, there is nothing to the bells. But we need to run all the way back, because I forgot how to play this game. Grab our cargo manifest and deliver through that method. That is the way to go. Turn on, nope, we're in the wrong side. Cargo manifest over here. Grab. Right, and we should only have one contract on board, so this should be fairly easy. Delivered 4, loaded 6, 5, 4, 3. I'm stuck on something. 2, 1, and I'm going to shut up. And I'll let you see if you can hear the bell again, and then I'll wait a couple of seconds before talking, just in case you turn the volume up, okay? Shutting up. Did you hear that, folks? So yeah, it was, it's very quiet. I would like to hear a louder ding, but I'm sure the dev has way more important things to be dealing with. So what is our tiers like now? 4,549.189. We're loaded. We are absolutely loaded. Right, okay. I'm going to make a quick edit before I explore, because I drank a pint of tea during this episode and I'm about to wet myself, so I'll be back in a second. Alright, let's go exploring. So first thing I want to do is go and have a peek over here to see if that is indeed a shipyard. Let's see here. Interact. Oh. So to purchase an Imperial Zebek or Zebek or Zebek, because there seems to be 3 options. I think it's Zebek. We'll go Zebek. It's going to be 26,500 tiers. Or we can build it with 8,500 tiers, wooden goods, 12 ton and 5 ton linen and 7 ton iron goods. Alright, what's that total there though? I'm confused at that because we don't seem to have 15,500. So I'm a wee bit confused by that, but okay. Back. Okay, going to do some reading, folks. Called Zebek or Shabaka by peoples of the old empire. These small warships offered sparse comforts but were fast and agile, with better seakeeping than their many-oared predecessors. To compete with the superior artillery of the Galleons, large numbers of these ships were built, and equipped with huge numbers of small guns, which were used to attempt to suppress enemy crews whilst drawing close and boarding. Even should this fail, it provided time for the larger Imperial warships to close in under lessened stress from the greater range of Galleon cannon. So it is Imperials versus the Galleon people, which I'm sure was obvious to everyone else. As both powers collapsed and the homelands fell, small numbers of these ships remained as some of the last organised forces at sea, if only just. Surviving through plunder and piracy, their numbers have dwindled, but tales of brutal raids and senseless pillage remain. Cool. And what we got here? So that looks like the ship that... Wait, yeah, let's look at the model again. Oh no, wait, because this has got a... So it's got a poop deck, a quarter deck, and then space underneath there. Unless I missed that, this looks a bit more like the ship we found at the Bells, just because it's got the forward raked foremast, whereas the Zebek appears to just have three straight masts. So the Seisha, the Seisha is the collective name of a broad family of Imperial trading vessels, all having broad round hulls, and 3 or more masts, often raked, carrying large lateen sails. Often lavishly decorated and painted brightly, these large ships transported vast quantities of any goods imaginable, between colonial holdings and the Imperial homelands. Neither fast nor nimble, they bear huge holds and are sturdy ocean-going vessels. Their size and complexity, coupled with often middling defences for their size, made tempting targets of them during the collapse, and few, if any, are known to exist today. Well, I know of one, potentially. And last one, but not least, folks. Oh, I think this is ours. The Caravel, which actually only cost 8,500. We could almost build another one. Once a common sight, both in Imperial waters and beyond, their numbers have since dwindled, which is a theme, but they remain the most common vessels suited to offshore travel. Seldom exceeding 25 metres, they are modest vessels both in size and ability to bear cargo. Their deep, round hulls and high freeboard, however, grant them excellent seakeeping for their size, and the versatile lateen rig provide good speeds, particularly to windward. Unlike the great ships of the old empire, or the many-masted junks of Kale, small numbers of these ships are still being built. So, perhaps we only have the archipelago for the Imperials, and not the Kale. Maybe that's it. And what we're building here, is that just a... Yeah, that's... So they're building a Caravel. I'm struggling with ladders in this game. Yeah, this is just our little boat. It's actually smaller because we can't fit under the poop deck. Just a dinky wee Caravel. Right, let's get done. So this is the shipyard indeed. So I think all that's left to do is just to go on a wee tour. Let's see what's available to us. I'm not expecting much considering the other bits of land in this game don't offer much in terms of interaction and exploring. Do we go left or right here? Let's go left. Alright, okay, so this is immediately offering more. Left or right? Well, left isn't an option, so right. I can feel us getting lost here. At least it's just one way. This looks like we should be able to enter. Oh, disappointing. Is red and blue for Imperial in this game? I'm seeing a lot of red and blue, whereas green is perhaps for Callian. Or Kalian. One of them. Up we go. Looks like we can do a bit of parkour on the roofs there. Oh, I do really want to go up there, but we'll stick to our theme of left and we'll come back. Let's do some sprinting. Oh, this is pretty cool. Right, that was a dead end. As I say, I would like to see more interaction in the towns, but I think that's probably to come. I'm sure I saw in one of Brendan's videos a large port that was different from this, but that's maybe, we've still got Fishhook to explore. And is that us? That's us at the very, very tip top. Oh, we've got a lovely night sky to go and view. Let's go and have a look at that whilst I send off. Let's get over here. I'd probably like to walk around the island as well, do some more exploring, especially to see if there's anything in that building up the very top. So perhaps I will start the next episode from up there. But with this view, I'm going to say thank you very kindly for joining me, folks. It's been good fun this time. Well, it always is. I have been Shipwreck Sean, and thank you for joining me. Cheerio.